area.
Right.
But if you're in Juneau, there is no road.
Okay,
One
we're
time I
live
went out
on
there and
YouTube
climbed
now.
Mount Olympus.
Did you?
Yeah. Everything was great until I got to the top, and then you look.
Okay, I think we have everybody here, so without further ado, in the absence of the chair, Mr. Whaley, who could not be here, I will chair the meeting. So I call the meeting to order and ask for a roll call, please, Kristen.
Mr. Griffiths,
Here.
Mr. Meinzer,
Here.
Mr. Schultz,
Here.
Mr. Truca,
Here.
Miss Yandell.
Here.
Okay. First order of business is to review the minutes as presented by staff. I obviously was not here, but I've read the minutes. Are there any questions or comments on the minutes?
Move to approve.
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, the minutes are approved as written. And then we are, oh, yeah, a piece of paper over, now I lost the agenda. Okay, I think the first order of business, correct me if I'm wrong, is application for 220 East Water Street, which is a continuation of last week, some issues from last month's meeting, is that correct?
That is correct.
Okay.
Yep, so the sections of the first application were tabled until tonight's meeting. This report's in reference to the sections that required the additional information that were tabled for tonight, and I will not be touching on the ones that were already approved.
Okay.
So for starters, we are going to go with the doors, the new door options that are presented. So there's three options. The original door that you guys had saw with a touch of the new emblem on the doors, the addition to the first option. The original door, sleek design. The second option is a mullion glass design that matches the approved windows from the first meeting of this application. And then the third design is a simple prairie inlay glass design. It looks like, based on what I was reviewing, it looks like option 2 and 3 have turn handles, where option 1 has more of a vertical pull handle. The applicant can approve or deny that that's the official proposal, but staff feels all the door options are fitting and appropriate and recommends approval of whichever design the committee deems appropriate.
Did you present the sign options too?
Oh, yeah, so, sorry, the last meeting we went case by case. I don't know if you guys want to do that again tonight.
Should we can discuss the doors first, if that makes more sense?
Absolutely. Ryan, sorry. So what you're seeing here is the sign, like I said, we can talk to next. The door options is, after the last meeting, I spoke to a couple of different members about the doors that we proposed the first time, and it seemed like the consensus was, after seeing the other doors that were on the building, that these doors, which is option 1, was the original doors I proposed last month, might actually be viable because of what's already on the building. I brought to you 2 other options in case that option still wasn't, felt like that should be, if we want to do more of a mullion style that matches the windows. The turn style with the handles, I'm still gonna have to have push bars on the inside for fire code, everything like that. But if we can style them with the handles on the outside, if that's more appropriate, that is more up to you. But option 1 is what we are still proposing as our option 1. Option 2 is where we would go next, and then option 3.
Okay, understood. Thank you. Any comment or discussion on the commission?
Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Meyer?
Yeah, I was wanting to oppose it last week just because I read the language in the Secretary of Interior, or you will, and I'm very acclimated to fire codes and life and safety codes and those types of things. When it says would, will, and shall, it's hard for me to adjust. I think they should say should or something like that. So after the meeting, I drove around downtown, and I noticed, like Mr. Fike brought up, it does match an existing door that's already on the building, so it does meet match an existing door. And the front building door here and the building next door, like it matches everything around here. So I'm like, we're not Williamsburg yet, saying we're not Carolina, so somewhere between Carolina coast. So I like option 1. I've changed my vote. I'm going to vote for this door.
I just wondered,
I like the signage better on the one is not going up over the window either.
Sure, we can discuss that. Both are actually different options.
Okay.
So one looks similar, but it's actually a different option as well.
Do you think you think in 2 or 3 that the sign pops more?
I do that, the way it's organized is a little kind of backwards. So sign option A, which is option 2 and 3, is our first option. That's a modification to Mr. Truca, kind of asking about the sign encroaching on the window for pooling of water and sake like that. We brought and shrunk it and made it more of a ribbon that fit more of the lentil that's going to be replaced above the door, keeping it under the window. And then the second option is that of very much what's on this building, which is that an awning with the letters floating
Yeah.
on the edge of the awning, backlit towards the building instead of front lit.
I mean, I like all 3. My only question is from a business point of view, does the one pop more if I'm a potential customer?
Well, I actually proposed option 1 with option 2 sign. That's actually an option as well. I gave
Okay.
6 options,
Which
3 doors and 2
But you're-
signs.
which do you like the best?
This option 2 or 3 sign is what I like most.
Door option 1.
What's that? With door option 1.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, I
Just to clarify, the sign, either of the sign options can go with any of the door options.
Yes.
Do you have the sign option A with door number 1 in the presentation?
I do not believe so. That's my apologies.
It's,
I think it's
on the
okay,
first
'cause we're
document that I
gonna-
gave them, that is the first option, is sign option 2 with door option 1.
So I would just say to the commission, we're going to consider the doors first and then the sign separately.
Good.
And essentially,
Good.
what
Good way.
the applicant is saying is they're all compatible.
Gotcha, good.
Correct.
Correct.
Okay. Any other questions on the doors?
Yeah, not really a question. I mean, I voted for the door last go around, and I appreciate you coming back with the other examples. I've been giving this a lot of thought, just what it even means is to be a landmark commissioner, and like how I see my personal role, not to put any words or posture or anything on anybody else, but really the reason why I'm here and I wanted to be on the landmark commission is just because I love buildings and the preservation of them. And so I don't really want to, and I'm glad that you asked what the applicant actually, what his choice is, because I was going to ask the same thing. I don't want to get in the way of anybody's business or Mr. Fike's building and the work that he's doing. That's not really, I see my place. And I think maybe last time I might have come off maybe trying to force things a certain way. Really, I just want to make sure that the building's preserved.
I commend that.
And so, you know, if you like door option 1 and you like sign option 2, then I'm going to vote for those because it's, you know, you came back. I think that sign will help preserve the building. And, you know, I would have voted for door 1 the first time. So if that's what makes you happy and you see your business going better, you know, then I'm in fully support of that.
I appreciate that, and that is how we feel.
Good. Well, thanks for hearing me out.
No
Just want to be clear about that.
Any further discussion on the doors? Okay, do we need to vote separately on doors and signs or put them all together? Or does it matter? I guess let's vote on the doors first. So if we're going to have a motion regarding doors.
I'd like to move that we adopt the proposal for door number 1.
Second?
Second, okay. Any further discussion? All in favor say aye. Do we need a roll call?
Probably roll call.
Vote, please.
Yep. Mr. Griffiths,
Aye.
Mr. Meinzer,
Yes.
Mr. Schultz,
Aye.
Mr. Truca,
Aye.
Ms. Andal.
Yes.
Okay, the motion's adopted. Thank you very much. Moving on to the signs then.
So yeah, as the applicant had addressed, there are several sign options, option A and option B. So option A is a shorter in height from the original that does not exceed the existing window area, which was a concern from the commission. And then option B is similar to number 1, but with no background and with halo illuminated lighting proposal. And my comment is if the sign option A here is going to be internally illuminated still. I believe in the first application it was, but I didn't see any clarification on the new one. I'm just clarifying.
It's the same material, same exact build, just a narrower sign.
Okay, so
Which is
they will
an
be
acrylic.
internally.
It's an acrylic push-through that would be an internally illuminated. The Brady Signs gave me options for if it is too bright, we could vinyl kind of a tint on the back side of the acrylic. If we felt it was too bright, to bring down that brightness.
And then the second option, option B, is not internally illuminated, correct?
It's.
Similar to the one on this
It's not
building?
forward-facing illuminated, it's very much like this building, where the back of the letters kind of illuminate towards the building, and it kind of gives an outline of the letters.
Right.
Instead, versus street forward.
Okay, from the commission, is there any further? Sorry, do you have anything else you want to add? Do you have a strong preference for one or the other?
Option A was our original design, just with a modification, as we talked about from last meeting. That is my first option. Option B was a second option to an alternate to that.
Any discussion or comment from the commission?
I'd like to move that we adopt option A for the sign.
A second?
Okay. I just have one comment that I noted from the previous meeting and I discussed with staff before this meeting. Staff is recommending that both signs options are fitting and appropriate and recommends approval of either sign. And then in the notes, that's the highlighted notes for this meeting. And the notes from last meeting, and we've had this before, staff recommends the granting of a certificate of appropriateness if the brightness does not exceed the brightness deemed appropriate by the Landmark Commission. My only problem with that statement is I don't know that we've established what that brightness is as a commission. So I asked staff earlier if they would get with Mr. Brady from Brady Signs and perhaps go around and do some measurements and understand what the brightness levels that we have approved in the past that we are deeming appropriate actually is from a lumens number. And I'm not a lighting guy, so I don't know if that's.
That would help a business owner like myself understand what I need to bring to the table, if that's kind of a guide that helps set
So
forth.
the only thing I would say is if we approve option A today, it'll be subject to that lumen standard.
We'd already adopted that with Brady Signs, that there could be modification to the
Okay.
brightness based on the appropriateness from you guys.
Understood. My other comment, and it's just a comment, is that traditionally, we have asked, where possible, not to have illuminated or internally illuminated signs in the downtown historic district. We have approved a couple. We have turned some down. So, my preference on this particular sign, and I wasn't here last week, but my preference on this particular sign is for option B, because it's not internally illuminated and it's consistent with where somebody else sits. So that's my preference. The motion on the table is to approve sign option A. Do we have a roll call on that motion?
Do we have good comments?
Pardon me? Sorry, yeah.
Discussion?
Further comments.
Again, a sign can be taken off in no time. It is in the preservation of the building has not much effect on it. But personally, I do like B, and it would be more classic or more traditional lit from the front. And I'm going to go with staff's recommendation on this, but, and I know, of course, you want to draw as much customers in, and you feel like the backlit illuminated A will be the best, so. But I'm going to go with Alec, what he recommends on these, because I think if the city building has backlit, it's hard to say no, but I think a lot more character would be lit from the front with a cool sign on that building. That's just my taste. So that's my comment.
May I interject?
Yep.
I believe that the City Hall sign is, it's illuminated behind the lettering, not lit from the front. So is that different than internally illuminated? That's my,
It is because it's
Backlit.
it's backlit
got it.
Backlit versus internally illuminated.
versus internally.
Internally
correct.
illuminated.
Yeah,
Understood.
yeah.
Like-
I guess procedurally, so staff have given us the option to vote for A or B.
As is, I'm open to option A or
You're-
option B as well.
Okay, so let's do this. Can I suggest that we amend our motion to say, A, that we approve the sign, and B, that we have a preference? And we just go through as individuals and say, do you prefer option A or option B?
Can we ask staff what they think of them, just
Sure.
taste?
From the design criteria standards, I think staff would be more comfortable with option B because of the reason of the backlit versus the front lit, making it, the halo would not be internally illuminated. But based on the applicant and also other comments from commissioners, we do feel that option A is a viable option. So based on the standards and standards alone, I think option B, but based on, if we're open to discussion, option A could be viable.
Could I ask one question?
Yeah.
From last meeting, the blade sign was approved, correct?
Correct.
The blade sign is internally illuminated.
That is-
Yeah, understood.
So.
That's been approved.
Just making that point,
Yeah.
option A matches that of the blade sign. Not that option B doesn't as well, that's why I gave you two options, but option B, or A fits that of the blade sign that's going already, that's approved.
Any further comments or
I just
discussion?
want to make sure. So just for staff recommends backlit,
Option B.
internally lit, option B.
Backlit, option B.
I'm on the fence, to be perfectly honest with you.
That's kind of where I'm at, so.
Like, I think that the guidelines written to stay away from internal illumination were about big LED,
Yeah.
super bright,
Right, yeah.
Vegas-looking, kind of obnoxious signage, whereas I see both of these options as pretty modern, tasteful,
Right.
adjustable options. I don't have a lot of fear of them creating light pollution downtown or being
Okay.
super distracting of either option. I mean, as far as the look of it, I do like the option B, I just think it looks cool. I love
I
the
do
City
too.
Hall one. I just like the look of it. But we're not here to say what our personal preference is. It's about determining what's appropriate and what's not appropriate for the character, which I do understand is a little
Yeah.
bit of a gray area. And we can certainly do a little bit more research for this, because I know internal illumination has come up a lot in this commission. And we've talked about it internally, and so we can certainly help moving forward to get a better handle on that and help that conversation. I'd love to send this applicant away with some clear direction today. I mean, I think that ultimately that would be staff's recommendation is if we could get to an approval and not make them wait for another meeting for more discussion, if we can get to a decision.
Okay. I think the motion on the table is to approve sign option A. We can always vote on that, and then if we need to, we can vote on sign option B. So can we have a roll call to approve sign option A?
Yes, Mr. Griffiths,
Yes.
Mr. Meinzer,
No.
Mr. Schultz,
Yes.
Mr. Truca,
Yes.
Ms. Andal,
No.
So that motion is adopted, correct?
That was 3 yeses and 2 noes,
3
so
and 2.
we have to have 4, don't we, have
Oh, we need
7
4.
seats?
Oh, yeah, I think that's what
So
we
we need 4.
determined
Okay.
at the last.
I think it has to-
meeting. Does.
It has to be 4. You're correct. It has
Yeah,
to be 4.
it has to be 4.
Okay. So can we have a motion?
Can we make another motion? to
Yes.
see if-
Can we have a motion
Can we-
on sign option B?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, yeah, then we might get 4 votes. I'd like to make a motion that we go with sign option B with internal lighting, correct? Okay.
Second. Okay, any further discussion on that, or, okay, roll call, please, Kristen?
Mr. Griffiths,
Yes.
Mr. Meinzer,
Yes.
Mr. Schultz,
Yes.
Mr. Truca,
Yes.
Ms. Andal,
Yes.
Okay, that motion is adopted.
Time.
Congratulations, thank you, and apologies for bringing you back twice, thanks for your patience, appreciate it.
We're here to learn too, so,
Good.
time, thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks, Ryan.
And then in conclusion, staff would also like to put a condition, and that condition is that all applicable permits are obtained through the building engineering and planning department and other applicable agencies prior to the construction of
Yep.
signage.
Good. Thank you, Mr. Fike. Okay, so moving on to staff reports.
So we had one administratively approved sign within this month timeframe. It's at 133 East Market Street. The sign is more or less replacing the existing, but with a new but similar design to what's there currently. Both signs meet the square footage requirements, 90 square feet on one side and 68 square feet on the back side. So we granted administrative approval on this on November 9th of 2021.
And just a little more background on this one. It was Marketplace at Cook, and they've renamed to Marketplace Downtown. They also had, in the past, they had small signs that showed all the individual vendors within the marketplace on their signage, but it was so small, it was really hard to read, and they were struggling with visibility anyway. So we advised them to take their square footage that they have, and use it to brand the marketplace, and then allow that their social media, window signage, and other things to help with the vendor visibility within the marketplace. So that was kind of how staff guided them to help make this decision too. Just a little background.
Got it. Thank you. Any other business?
I have one heads up I could give you all if you're interested in. It's not approved and it's in draft format and it's in conversation right now, but I think that it's interesting to bring to your attention. The Public Arts and Culture Commission, I sit on that commission. They're working on their 2022 work plan, and something that's come up for years and years is murals and how to do murals in the city. It's very interesting to the arts commissioners, and we had discussed the potential to do some sort of like vinyl mural program. I was familiar with a similar program in the Short North Arts District in the city of Columbus, where they do murals that are applied onto buildings using a thin vinyl product that looks very much like a painting, but when you get up close to it, you can see that it's a vinyl application. I spoke to the woman that runs that program in the Short North and learned about the vendor, how they're applied, that they're safe for historic buildings, they don't see any damage of them, they rotate them every couple years. And so I did a lot of research for the Arts Commission about the potential to do a program like that, and they're very interested in doing a program like that. So one of the next steps, if they want to take on this program, would be to talk to the Landmarks Commission, make sure you all are comfortable with that idea, and then assuming that, we have buy-in and people are comfortable with us doing that, we would start to look at where those might be, what buildings they might be appropriate on. I'm not sure that they would all be on historic contributing buildings downtown anyway. So we would come to you to talk about the potential locations. We would obviously have to talk to the building owners to make sure that that would be appropriate, and then come up with a process of how to choose the art and what the art would look like and what would go on the wall. So there's a lot of work to be done to actually make it happen. But I wanted to bring, kind of give you a heads up that they're very interested in doing a program like this. They're thinking maybe up to 5 or 6 murals, maybe like 10 by 15, 10 by 10, so not gigantic, depending on what the budget looks like and if we're able to get a sign company that can apply them in Sandusky. The one I talked to was in Columbus, and they don't travel up north this far, but, so yeah, just a little heads up, and I'm interested to hear just your initial reactions to that, so I can let them know if you think that might be something that you'd be interested to see move forward.
It's funny, if you drive through Bucyrus, which is always annoying in the past, but now with the murals they have, they're spectacular. I mean, it wouldn't be what you're talking about exactly, but it really does add to that city, I think.
Having just driven through Bucyrus.
Yeah.
I can comment. I think, yeah, you're right. They've done a good job. So personally, I think it's a great idea.
I love it. Let's fast track it.
Yeah.
Great.
Cool.
Okay, I'll keep you
And
posted.
then I would just reiterate that one other piece about getting an actual measurable standard on what we're deeming an appropriate
The lighting?
lighting
Absolutely.
level
Yep.
for internally and externally illuminated signs downtown. And that's probably something that Ryan Brady at Brady Signs can help out with from a technical.
Yep, I think they've done
perspective.
the last couple, so it would be, they could easily help us understand what those look like, and we can just throw it up on a slide deck so you can see what they are and get a good range.
Okay.
So we know what to approve.
And then the only other question I had for Kirsten is for you. What's the schedule for our next meeting in December, given holidays and everything else?
Yeah, December 15th, so.
December 15th,
Yeah.
okay. Very good. Anything else? Motion to adjourn?
So
We are adjourned. Thank you very much.
Thanks.